Today we have another fantastic member of our premium community. This individual is relatively new to the community, the premium community, as well as the original Discord, the community in general. Um, been around for a handful of months, and in that short amount of time, this person has shown unbelievable consistency in their journaling and in our personal threads that we have in the premium. They are just constantly posting their incredible analysis in there, their breakdown of how they go about their day. Um, they're participating in the group threads that we have. They're all over the place, and in such a short amount of time, they have provided an enormous amount of information and proved their consistency and their dedication to learning this and becoming a better trader. So obviously that meant we had to get them on the student stage to talk to you guys because we want to we're trying to every week we're trying to bring something new to the table. We're trying to bring somebody of value to show you guys what's going on, whether they're super extremely, uh, or I should be saying, very veteran traders and even newer traders. Everybody's the same. Everybody's on the same journey. So we want to shed some light on this individual because while they are new to the community, they are proving to be a force to be reckoned with in the trading space, and they are going to just in a matter of time be doing incredible things. So without further ado, I present Phoenix. And Phoenix, are you there? Are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. All right. We want to make sure that we had this
Awesome.
the audio situated beforehand, so we are good to go. And now, thank you for obviously coming on and talking with everybody. We are going to start off. I will ask you to just share a little bit with the community about yourself. Maybe tell us about yourself and what you have going on outside of trading.
Sure. Firstly, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to even be up here on the student stage because, like you mentioned, I am a little bit newer in my trading journey. So, I'm coming after some veterans, who, have accomplished a little bit more than I have. So it's definitely an honor to be considered. So, in terms of kind of a little bit of background about myself, so I work in the engineering space. I graduated with a biomedical engineering degree and then went on to complete a engineering master's. And then I got my big girl job. Funny enough, not in biomedical engineering. I actually got it in basically a mechanical engineering job,
Mm.
working for an automotive manufacturer. And so I've basically, been doing that for a few years. And then I got promoted to being a quality engineer, so that was kind of, my main, outside of trading job. I did recently just leave that job. So now I have a little bit more free time to kind of focus on trading until I decide to go back and get a different job. But
Mhm.
that is a little bit about me in terms of outside of trading.
And then, what is your real name as well? I forgot. I wanted to mention. I forgot to ask you that. What people can call you Phoenix, but what is your first name that I can call you?
Sure. My real name is Eliana.
Eliana, right? Perfect. Okay. So I know that we had spoken previously, and you did mention that you wanted to share with the community the I guess the process of how you go about your everyday life in terms of when you're focusing on trading. I say everyday life because I know that you use the notion for your everyday life, not just for trading. But
Right.
obviously, the notion that you have made and the template you have is um, is for trading as well as your everyday life. And I have seen it. It is incredible, and I'm very excited for you to share your notion with everybody. That being said, I am going to I'll stop sharing my screen so that way you can
Okay.
share your screen with the community. All right,
Okay.
you should be good if you are ready to go there.
Awesome. All right. Give me one second.
Mm-hmm.
I guess while I pull that up and just kind of in terms of like my trading journey within and of itself, I am still relatively new when it comes to trading. I have been learning about trading for like the last 4 years, but in terms of actually taking the dive to get started, it's definitely been more recent as of late. All
Right.
right, let's see. All right. Is it sharing? Can you all see my screen?
I can see it. I can see it.
Okay.
And as long as it's on my screen, we're getting it recorded. That's perfectly fine.
Okay,
Okay, I see a
awesome.
lot of yeses, so it looks like we're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so essentially, this is basically my trading dashboard. So this is how I essentially manage my day, kind of, what my process is, how I'm tracking my goals, and whatever tasks that I'm completing throughout the day. So for those of you who are in premium, or when Arrow was up on here, he spoke about the 2190 challenge. Um, and so I decided, after about a month or so of being in the community, to participate in that challenge as a way to hold myself accountability. So I started that challenge, and at the same time, I also started a personal thread. And so a lot of what you'll see here is things that I copy and paste into my personal thread every single day for like the last 33 days or so. So this is basically my trading dashboard. And so I'm going to show you what my daily report card looks like. And so I fill this out every single day. And as it loads, okay, perfect. Can you all still see
Yep,
my
I
screen?
see it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. So essentially, what I do is I complete a daily report card every single day. I learned about this from another trader on YouTube, and he learned about this from an actual real life prop firm called SMB Capital. And so SMB Capital, like I said, they're real prop firms, and essentially, they're basically the pros of the pros. They trade 7, 8 figure, accounts. So these are the real professionals. So if the professionals are doing daily report cards, then why should I not also do the same? So I decided to go ahead and create myself a daily report card. And so basically, kind of similar to, I'm pretty sure we've all had some form of schooling, so report card, naturally, you get your report card, every quarter or so. Based on your performance and how you're doing in like various different subjects. And so naturally, this is specific to trading, it's specific to my emotions, it's specific to performance, and also I set one or two goals for that particular day. So this is currently my dashboard. So you'll see pretty much just this week's daily report cards. And so in this section here are the goals that I'm focused on for these particular report cards. So my main two goals that I've been focusing on, because I'm trying to be more consistent, is completing my morning forecast and then making sure that I'm present for the New York AM session. Obviously, I wasn't able to be present for the session today because I was preparing, for this, but I did do my morning forecast. So, and then I also track which reports are linked to those particular goals. So, for example, if I scroll down here, I can see, how many times was I present for the New York AM session? Okay, 18 times. How many times did I complete my morning forecast consistently? 24 times. So I can, see kind of how I'm working along through those daily report call goals. So now to get into one, so I'm going to go into one that's already completed, and just to kind of show you how I walk through it. And the reason why it's important to do a daily report card, essentially, what you track, you're able to improve upon, and but if you don't track it, you're not able to identify properly where you may have gaps, in your knowledge, in your technical analysis, or anything, any area really. So by me tracking it, I'm able to then go to the next step of that, which is review and reflect on the data that I've tracked. And now that I've done that review and reflection, now I can create action step to optimize, that gap. And I'll actually show you like an example of how I take all of my daily report cards and I do like a weekly review, and how that weekly review ended up helping me this week to perform better.
Hmm.
So this is essentially what the daily report card looks like. So essentially, I'll come in and I'll fill out just the date to start with. Normally, this is completely empty when I start with. So this is a completed one. So everything's pretty much complete here. And I'll circle back up to these things at the top. But when I first come in, I'll see my weekly focus tasks and encouragements. So, I'm all about playing on psychology. So, I always want to make sure I start my day off by encouraging myself. So I look at, okay, what was my weekly win for last week? And for me, that was okay. I feel like I'm evolving into this professional trader, and last week I showed up every day and I was able to spot several unicorn setups without, guidance from like the Discord group. I was able to, identify them myself. So that for me, that was a weekly win. So I just like to encourage myself at the start of the day, so I can kind of start my day on a good space, good emotions. And so this entire section here is going to come from that weekly review I'm going to show at the very end of this. And so essentially, these are the tasks that I realized from last week's review that I need to improve upon this week. So I had some issues last week where I may have missed a couple of things doing my chart analysis. And so I said, okay, I need to make sure I create a task, to make sure I'm more meticulous when doing my chart analysis. And so what does that look like? What action am I going to take to accomplish that? So for me, that's going to be go through my process checklist. And I'll actually show you all that. And then, another thing was completing my morning trading routine after my morning forecast. I was a lot hard on myself, at the start of my journey, but I've decided to start giving myself more grace. So I was setting myself up to where, oh my gosh, I have to complete my morning trading routine before I do my forecast. But I decided to say, you know what, even if I, after I complete my morning forecast, even if I complete my morning trading routine after then, that's still a win. So I decided to make a modification in terms of like that process. So that's something I have as a focus, and then getting to bed early. So now this is a big thing because, my performance, and I'll show you guys this, my performance, last week was like abysmal. And for the last 3 weeks, really, and it's mainly been because I've been going to bed late and then trying to wake up early as if I'm like still a teenager. And my body is like, no, no, sit down somewhere. So my performance and my emotions were just like not in the best place. So I decided to really push myself to like create a bedtime and go to bed at that time. So my action was okay, get to bed by 10:30. So I know that's probably like maybe late to most people or whatever, but for me, that's like early because normally I'm going to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and then trying to wake up, for the AM session and struggling. So anyway, so 10:30. So that's a goal for me. So and then the other thing was making sure that I consistently got to the charts at 7:30 at least 4 times this week. So that requires me to wake up on time because I had a couple of times last week where I didn't wake up on time, so I wasn't able to get to the charts on time. And because I didn't get to the charts on time, then I wasn't able to complete my morning forecast before the session actually started. So that affected my performance grade. So, these are some of the things I set for myself to focus on this week. And so, like I said, these are the actions that I take, and then I assign tasks to those actions to make sure that I'm accomplishing them. So, like, these are pretty much the tasks. So, here's that task go through my process checklist. So, I created an actual task, and this is for like every day of the week. So, now we're on Friday. So, that's why it's showing 5 tasks here. But to make sure that I go through my process checklist. So, I completed that task this morning. And then to make sure, I'm doing my morning trading routine. So, I'm keeping everything very organized and making sure that I'm keeping track of my goals and my focus points. So here are all the tasks I've assigned to these specific things to make sure I get them done, and then they show up here in my today task. So here are all those tasks that I was referring to. They show up here. So I'm able to, check through and complete when they're done. So as of right now, my 75 hard complete by 10:30, obviously that's not done yet. And my end of day analysis, obviously that's not done because I'm still within the day. But this is essentially, kind of how I start my day as I come and I look through kind of what did I learn from last week? What are the takeaways? What tasks can I assign for this week and whatnot? And then what do I have planned for the day just to make sure, I keep myself focused. So that's pretty much kind of what the start of my daily report card is like. So then I'll come into, I have like three sections here. So I have, pre-trading, during trading, and after trading session. So the pre-trading session is essentially filled with my trading routine, and I'll go into that in just a moment. And then also the morning forecast for both ES and NQ. So I'll come in and do my morning forecast for ES, and I'll show you all an example of what that looks like. And so, like I said, the most important thing of why I'm sharing this is just so you can get ideas of, so maybe you can help yourself, or maybe you can implement something that you may not have thought about. You don't have to mimic or mirror exactly what I have, but it's just more so just to give you some ideas of, how you can help your trading routine or your trading journey. So I'll come in. and I'll do my morning forecast. So first thing I do, as Matt always says, is to do your checking of the news. So I have a link here to automatically click to open up Forex Factory. I'll take a screenshot. Uh, and if most of you don't know, Notion does have this new feature. I think they added it last year or the year before, where you can create buttons within your page. So I created a button for all of these things, and so when I snap my picture, I paste it and I'll say, okay, today we have high impact. So I'll check a high impact. And then I'll click this button to also say news is checked. So, and I can show you kind of like what that, so you see these two sections here to show you if you've never seen the button feature before. So I'll just select high impact and then news checked, and then it'll check so I never have to scroll back up and fill any of these out. I can do it like straight within the page. So in case you all didn't know about the button feature, it's like freaking game changer.
God, it's so
So
insane. It's like the
yeah, it's the
level.
buttons
No,
are awesome.
your that and your like I didn't mean to like interrupt, but just your level of like all of this is just so incredible. It's just like so. It's like it's so organized, so detailed, so meticulous. And I remember when you know kind of gave me a brief overview of this the first time. I'm still blown away. Like even in this moment, it's like
Well, thank you.
you have it's so detailed, and I did mention this when you had first gave me the quick view of it before. It's you can tell to everybody that's listening, you can tell that this is a notion of someone who just loves to do this. Like take out trading and like all of that. Like you can tell that she specifically loved creating this. You can tell that there's care and very meticulous details put into this. I mean, this is a notion of someone who just alone enjoys building stuff like this, you know, which is like your engineering, you know, background. Obviously, that's when
Yeah.
that comes into play. But I just had to interject there real quick, just because I'm sure there's people that are watching this right now going, "Wow, this is insane." So I just wanted to speak for them for a second before we continue into this mind blowing organized notion. So go right into the daily bias section now. Go for it.
Absolutely. But no, thank you for that. And like you said, a lot of it comes from, my background,
Mm-hmm.
as being an
Mm-hmm.
engineer. Normally I have like, within my job, like 50 problems that I'm managing, and so I had to build a lot of processes, checklists and systems to manage all of those problems, and to make sure I tracked all of the solutions and the data for each of those individual problems. So,
Mm-hmm.
I had to, with whatever platform they provided, create a system to manage all of that. And so, with trading, I just pretty much rolled it over to trading. So that
Yep.
way, again, I can make sure that I'm holding myself accountable. And this level of detail may not work for everybody. I think you have to do what works for you.
Absolutely.
And so it's okay if you don't have this level of intricacy or detail. Do what works for you. So it may be as simple as just having a page just of your daily report card, but with not all of this, the extra level of detail. So just again, a part of being an independent thinker again is, how can I take what I'm learning now and apply it in a way that works for me? So that's the most important thing that I want everyone to take away from this is, what can I apply to my current situation now that will help me? Just one thing. Find one thing, and go from there. So essentially, kind of continuing along with that. So I'll come in and I'll do my daily bias. So the main thing in the community, how we build daily bias is going to be that ERL to IRL, correct? And so, but I like to look at other things around it. So I like to look at, structure, SMT, liquidity, how price is reacting to order flow, candle bias, and weekly profile. So, I just like to look at those things to get a gauge of, are these things supporting the ERL to IRL? Because I like supporting evidence, because like I said, it's just my nature and like the way my brain works. So I'll set this, I'll type in the ERL to IRL, justification, but then I need other things to kind of confirm, like, okay, hey, yeah, we're actually pointing and moving in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the main theory that I use. The other thing that I do is I look at the bullish side of the argument and the bearish side of the argument. So, for example, um, it's kind of like a pros and con list. I want to be able to make sure I am objective to price, that I'm not trying to, force or say that price must do this. I want to look at what can invalidate this ERO to IRA? Are there any bearish arguments that would invalidate it? And so, I look at both sides of the picture of both sides of the market, and then I'm able to kind of formulate a belief. Okay, it looks like we have a lot more bullish arguments and these things supporting, the IRA to ERO theory. So today I'm going to be bullish based upon that. So, because like I said, you don't want to marry your bias, at least from my perspective. So I'm always looking at, okay, there's some bearish things that I need to consider here. And for this particular day, I didn't see any bearish arguments worth noting, but normally I'll have it filled out. So in the morning time in my personal thread, so I'll normally, screenshot this and post it in my thread. So before I take my picture, I also have a checklist process that I go through. So just to make sure I have everything notated that I wanted to capture in my image. So I'll make sure I've marked on the ERO to IRL, make sure I marked on liquidity and any potential drawn liquidity, price leg, SMT if it's present. So that's what I'll do for the daily, just to make sure I have all those things kind of marked up on my picture. Now
And
I did post like,
when you like click like for that daily example, when you click the little check mark, that crosses
yeah,
off and like right and
yeah, it
sort
crosses
of
off.
dims it a little bit. See, again, it's just the detail. It's like anybody could
Yeah.
just make a little, oh, okay, check this, but you made sure to make it so when you check the box, it crosses it out and then dims the text. I mean, just every little thing is just so perfect.
So that's a feature built into Notion. So they have the checkbox option. So you just, do the little forward slash that you want to do checkbox, and
Right.
then fill it out, and whatever you want that item to be, and it'll automatically do that for you as a part of Notion. So I did kind of screenshot. So this is the checklist. So I can open each one if you want, but I have posted this in my personal thread before. So if you are in premium, it'll be there. But basically, this is pretty much the check process checklist that I go through on each time frame, just to make sure I'm looking at everything. I'm capturing structure. I'm capturing order flow. Was there, a CISD present? If there's a market maker model, which side are we on? And I mark out that high resistance, low resistance liquidity, standard deviations, and any POIs that I want to trade from. So naturally your fair value gaps or swing points. And then for the 5 minute, I'm mainly looking at, session liquidity and how did Asian and London session behave, and whatnot. So these are kind of the things I'm considering when I'm doing like each time frame. All right. And so this is the daily buyer summary questions. I also posted this in my personal thread. Like I said, if you're in premium, if you type in knowledge sharing in my personal thread, these will pop up. So for this, like I just showed you the daily buyer summary table, these are kind of the questions that I'm asking myself as I'm going through the table. I don't really need to look at it as much anymore because it's now ingrained more so as like second nature, but these are essentially the questions that I'm asking myself. So if you want to like, screenshot it or so, or use it, if you find value in it, you're more than welcome to do so. But this is kind of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And then as soon as it loads, all right, sweet. So, and then this is pretty much just the same thing I just showed you all. So I'll make my conclusion. I'll type, a little sentiment of, why I'm looking at bullish or whatnot, and then I'll scroll down and I will come down and do my 1 hour narrative and structure, and then 5 minute entry. And like I said, it's based off that checklist from before. So I'll mark on, any relevant POIs and whatnot. Take those images. Then 5 minute, like I said, I'm mainly looking at how the sessions behave. So I notate it down here in a chart, to see, how did the sessions behave, and is there any liquidity available? So, for this particular day, Asian and London, the lows weren't swept. So we had that liquidity available. So, I notated and marked it up, on my image. So that is pretty much what the pre-session analysis looks like. So I complete that before the morning session actually starts, so I can make sure I'm ready and prepared. So I'll normally do a post-session analysis as well, or an end-of-day analysis. So kind of comparing, how did the daily bias play out? Was it correct? Was the target met? So I'll notate that here and post a post-session picture and then post-session thoughts, and I'll do that for all of the time frames. And if any trades were present, I'll notate that as well. So there was, I did find, I think this was the 17th. So there was a entry that I saw but it was a low probability one. But the whole point is, since I'm still in my learning stage, I mark up everything as a case study for myself to later review. And so I mark this trade up as a case study, and I can actually show you what that looks like. So I'll complete that post session review. I'll take screenshots of this and then post it in my personal thread, in addition to how like the session ended up playing out. So like this was the trade that I marked up, or the case study that I marked up on Tuesday. All right, so there we go. So I'll come in and I will mark up the trade. I will mark up any kind of positive confluences, negative confluences of the trade. When did the trade form, when it completed, things like that. So this particular trade, let's see, this one was right at the daily ERL. So the daily ERL literally had just been swept, and an entry had not yet been provided. So I figure that this would be a good example to study on maybe why not to take trades near daily levels, and so I documented it. I thoroughly documented it on, why it may not have been an ideal trade. And I plan to build, again, kind of like a Rolodex of these examples. So I know I have conviction that, okay, I am not going to take trades, that are near daily levels, because I've seen from my past case studies that this is what it's led to. So this is kind of an example of like what I'll do for case studies if I do find them within that trading day. So that goes into being a part of my end of day analysis. And so we'll go back. All right. So that's pretty much the morning forecast portion of it. So that is pretty much what I'll do in the morning time. So then we move on to the other side of the trading session. The pre-trading session is going to be like my actual trading routine. So I have it broken up by like what I'm supposed to actually do in the morning, and then what I'm supposed to do in the evening, and then kind of a grade to grade myself, of how did I do for that particular day. So it does have my evening routine here. So this is pretty much what the morning routine will look like for me. Okay. So I will come in into my morning session. So normally I'm doing about, four things specifically related to trading. So again, this goes back to making sure I'm tracking my emotions. So I want to track my emotions and how was I feeling for that particular day. So I learned about this from another trader called the flow zone state. It's basically like, most athletes call it being like in flow state, when like when they're in the zone, and like that everything they're catching plays and, doing everything so awesome. So, he moved that terminology to trading and called it the flow zone state. So, me learning from, this individual, he categorized certain emotions based on kind of, I guess, positive and negative, or more so, which emotions encourage you to, progress and growth. And which ones maybe hinder your progress. So he kind of leveled them or labeled them, as follows. So I'll give myself a score from like 1 to 10. And so these are the particular emotions, and they're all buttons. So I'll click, how was I feeling that day? So I'll click, okay, I'm feeling rage, or I'm feeling insecure, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And then I'll come back up after I select which options. I'll say, okay, I'm feeling more so like a 6 today. And then I'll type in, how did I feel? So, this day I woke up on time today, so since I was able to get to bed early, and I felt relaxed, I'm not anxious. And I'm like, wow, like going to bed early is really helping me, because my emotional state is much better. So that's kind of, what I will start my day with, is making sure I check my emotions. Because again, at the end of the week, when I do my end of week review, and I can show you, I'm able to see, okay, what was my emotional state like that week? What impacted, and maybe what can I do to tweak to make it better? I'll come in, and then once I'm done with my flow state, I'll then check the button. I'll come through, and this is something that I say to myself like every single day. So it's what's called a chief aim statement. So, I'm a person who believes in like, what you say about yourself and what you believe about yourself is kind of what you will experience. And so, I believe in calling myself, a profitable professional trader now, even though I'm not yet there, but I have to be it before I become it. I have to act as if I'm already that thing before it actually shows up, in my reality. So every day, I'm declaring this out to myself that, I'm a consistently profitable professional trader with 7 figures in funded capital. I'm saying this to myself every day. I'm saying that I show up to the market every day, so I'm saying all of this every single day. And then I have like, two little visuals cut to kind of help, visualize that, like visualizing, the Apex certificate, like my name is going to be on it, and, receiving payouts, like, that is going to be a reality for me. So every day I make sure to put that in front of myself. And then I'll check off once I'm done with that. And then I'll review like my specific trading goals. So right now I only have like one overall goal right now. And once I accomplish that, then I'll add more, because I believe in like making sure that I'm only doing one thing at a time. So I only have one focus goal for trading right now, and that's to become a profitable funded future trader. And so, within that goal, I created like special projects to track where I'm at. So I'm all about, like I said, metrics and tracking my goals. So, I can encourage myself. So a part of, me becoming that, funded trader, I need education. I need to make sure I'm practicing technical analysis. I need to make sure I'm completing my daily, report card. And then also reviewing the Discord content, because obviously, I am in the premium group. And, there are a lot of amazing people in there and amazing personal threads in there. So like I go through people's personal threads. I literally started all the way at the bottom, and I'm like working my way up through people's personal threads, because there's so many gems in everybody's thread, and their perspective is like so much wisdom there. And I love learning from other people. So that's also one of the things that I'm utilizing to make sure I accomplish that goal. And naturally, within each of those projects is tasks that I would complete, right? So tasks related to watching videos, tasks related to technical analysis. So this would be like me completing my morning forecast and my end of day analysis. And so I look at, okay, what tasks do I have to do upcoming? So I have 75 hard, and that's something that challenge that I started in addition to 2190. I have my daily report card task that's today. And then here's my end of day analysis and all of the other tasks that I have to work through. And so, it just kind of, helps you to see that each individual action that you're taking is going towards this goal, and that percent, is starting to increase. So you can say, wow, I'm like 94%, close to accomplishing my goal. It just helps give you a visual of everyday actions you're taking is making a difference. And sometimes, it's hard for us to see that. And so this is kind of a visual way to acknowledge, the efforts that you've been putting in. So I'll do that, click OK after I review my goals. Then the last thing I do in my morning routine is I do like a coin flip exercise. So for me, I had learned this from like another trader on YouTube. And so basically it helps get my mind thinking about probabilities, and understanding that, this is a probabilities game. So, I have a win rate, let's say of 50%. It trains my mind to understand that not every trade will be a winning trade, and I just have to let the numbers play out. And so I say these things, these statements over here as I'm, doing these flips, that anything can happen. And these are all from Mark Douglas's Trading in the Zone book, just reminding myself that, there's a random distribution between wins and losses. So I'll, do those flips. I do it virtually. So here's like a little virtual click, because I had a coin before and it got kind of annoying using the actual coin because I would drop it and whatnot. But anyway, so so once I do the 10 flips, it'll calculate how many R that would be. So, and then with a win rate of 40%, I'm still able to come out with 2R, and it's amazing. I won 4 times in this distribution and still was able to end up with 2R. And so every day, I'm like, doing the same thing over and over to convince and, program my mind that this is how trading works. It's a probability game. Do not be, dissuaded by losses or any of those things. It is okay. A loss is an expense and it is a part of the game. It is a part of the business. And so I do this every day to condition my mind, of that. And so then I'll click that I'm done. And that's pretty much like the morning trading routine, pretty much done. And I'll just show you the what the evening looks like. And it's pretty much similar. So I'll do review my trading goals, see where I'm at, and mainly just my tasks that I completed for the day. I'll do an end of day reflection. And so the end of day reflection is I'm really big on, making sure that, let's see, I practice like gratitude. So let me show you what that Tuesday looked like. So I'll come in. So this is usually what I'll do at the end of the day. I'll write, what I'm grateful for. I'll pick 2 lessons that I learned from the day. And sometimes it can be from people that I learned within the Discord group or just some things that popped up in my thoughts. And then a win for the day. Like, what was something awesome that I did? Like, Tuesday, I got in bed on time. So I was really happy about that because going to bed that early is like, really hard for me. So the fact that I was able to do it was like, impressive to me. So I considered that like a win. So that is normally what I'll do at the end of the day. Always 3 gratitudes, 2 things I'm grateful for, and a win. So I'll, again, marked it off and I end my day with my chief aim statement as well. And if I did any kind of educational content throughout the day, then I'll, review kind of what I did. So if it was course content, because I watch courses and things like that. So I just check through to make sure everything's, checked off accordingly and whatnot. And if I'm doing it, if I did any back testing sessions, I'll like take a review at that session. But normally that's essentially what I'll do. And so that's pretty much the um, end of day trading routine that I'll do. So this day, like I completed like majority of everything. So I'm still, look, I'm still struggling to get like my personal morning routine, like before I even like hit the charts done. But progress, right? Progress.
Nobody's perfect.
So right. So let me go back to the main page and then show you some more of that. Okay. Then it's loading. All right. Okay, so then so that's the pre-trading session. So the during trading session, so this can be like, on days when, there's not a whole lot of much going on in price, or it can be after the PM session. So normally after the PM or after the AM session, I'm sorry, I don't really trade the PM session yet. So like normally during the PM session, I'll like do like course review. So I'll come through and look at what course like what like video I want to watch, and then I'll schedule a task and watch that video, and then I'll just link it to this daily report card to make sure I keep track. And so like on this particular day, like I watched like these 3 courses. Normally sometimes I like to watch videos 3 times if I'm not as familiar with the knowledge. But if I am, then I'm cool with just one. But so I'll schedule a task and then I'll go about doing that. So that's pretty much this section. There's also backtesting here. I haven't started backtesting as of yet. But when I do, that'll be kind of something I'll do during the PM session. I'll just go ahead and start a backtesting session and then go from there. So that's pretty much what the during trading session looks like. And then after trading session, so here is pretty much, again, this kind of ties back into that end of day analysis that I showed you all. And then the end of day reflections is down here as well. So I'll click and fill this out, and then I'll fill out this daily report card. So this end of day markup, it's pretty much, again, so when I complete like, the morning forecast and the end of day analysis, if I did not ever want to come back into like that specific daily report card, I created like a separate dashboard for the end of day analysis. So, I'm able to store specific trades, within, that particular day. So these are essentially just trades for both ES and NQ from that particular day. So if I ever, like I said, wanted to go back, okay, see how did Tuesday do? Did I have any trades on Tuesday? I can just go back to Tuesday and not go into the daily report card and see how I did. So I just basically log those trades here. Um, and then like I said, do the end of day reflections. And so now comes the grading part. So this is like one of the most important parts, is the rubric. So before I implemented this on the I think the 3rd of this month. Before, I was giving myself a grade kind of more subjectively, but I wanted to make it more objective, and so I created a rubric based on, what I have to do in my day already. So, that, entails like things like making sure I sleep a minimum of 6 hours. Did I show up on time at 7:30 to my desk? Was I at my desk on time? Did I complete my morning personal and trading routine? Did I, log my emotions? Did I check news? Did I do all of those things? So I left these empty so I can, come in and check these for you. So essentially when these get checked, this points counting section here, it sums up the total. So for this particular day, I did make an A this day. So out of 37 out of 40 points, if you look at the rubric here, that will be an A. So this day I was able to make an A based on, performance of completing, all of my items. So I'm able to have a better idea, of how truly am I performing. When I do actually start trading though, I can show you this. Let's see. I will add in. Okay, I will add in these criteria. So once I actually do start trading, so this may be more applicable to you all who are more, trading right now. Is like, did you experience FOMO? Did you overtrade? Did you, trade against the trend? Did you get in too early? So these are other things to grade yourself against. If you're actually live trading and you grade your performance based on whether or not you did these things. Did you generate your trade that day? Well, if you didn't, then you don't get points for that. So that's just an example of, things you can implement if you are actually, live trading. And I'm not as of yet. So, right now, this is kind of the main thing that I focus on. So that's pretty much how I would give myself a grade. So I'll come back up and then just log my grade for the day. And then I'll, document what my summary for the day was. How did I feel? And like this day was a good day because getting to bed on time, was really useful for me. I woke up feeling refreshed and my performance has definitely been better. So that's pretty much the daily report card, pretty much, I guess, in a really big nutshell. But that's how I do it. But just because this is how I do it does not mean that you have to do it this way. You can take this concept of using a daily report card and apply it to yourself. And you can make this as simple as it needs to be for yourself. Again, do what works for you. You don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it. I'm just trying to give you ideas of maybe things that you can do. So the reason why, I do the daily report cards is because at the end of the week, I'll do like an end of week review. And so this will be an example, and I'll show you an example of like one that's filled out. So this was, my review from last week and how I was able to come up with those task items that I wanted to focus on this week. So, I looked at all of my, report cards from last week. So I will come in and I'll check how was my emotions last week. So I can see, these are all of my emotions from that week. I was tired, insecure, angry. Most of the days throughout that week was pretty horrible. And then when I take a look at my comments, it's like I went to sleep late. Oh my gosh, I'm tired, So it's so much consistency. I woke up late again. So I'm like, okay, clearly something's going on, with like my emotional state and my performance. And you can see like my flow zone score is, consistently low and an average of 4.2. So it's affecting my emotions, right? So, then I created those tasks that I showed you all. And let's see. So I created those tasks and added them down here. Like, okay, I need to get to bed early, clearly. Like I need to do a better job of that. So that was kind of where that came from because I was able to see these things, I was able to improve upon this week, and make my performance a lot better. And again, so I'll come in, I'll take a look at my performance for the whole week and what was my grade for those days, and those days when I had like, I woke up late, look at my grades, C, D, D, and because I see that now I can say, okay, it's clearly my lack of sleep that's affecting my performance. So how can I improve? And that's kind of where I came up with, okay, I need to get to bed early. I need to, something has to change in order for my performance to get better. And so that's where a lot of that comes from. So I'll come down here to this table and I'll type in, what I learned from reviewing. I'll give myself, a grade based on my daily report card review and trading review for the week. So, for the week, I think I gave, based on the grade would be like a C. So I just kind of use this little checklist on the side to kind of help walk myself through doing the weekly review. But that is pretty much kind of the majority of it. If I did any back testing, I'll review those back testing sessions. If I like to review all of my forecasts and any of the case studies that I marked up, I'll come in and review those just to kind of, make sure, I have a good understanding of price. And then I'll implement this upcoming week. So this is where I'll do like a price action study of like how the entire price played out for the week. But this is basically what a weekly review would look like for me. So I'll do a reflection, and then this is basically planning. So if there's anything I want to schedule for the upcoming week, I'll basically schedule that, whether it's courses or back testing session or any trading task that I want to schedule. So that's essentially what a review looks like. So now for you, it can be as simple as you having a journal and writing all of this down, like in a journal. How was your emotions, on Monday? How are they on Tuesday? And then on Saturday, you go back through your pages and look at, okay, are there any trends? Is there any consistency with how you were feeling? And maybe is there something that you can do? Tweaking one thing can make, a huge improvement, because like just me getting to sleep, on time, like look at like how my grades have gone up. So it's like all week I'm like A, so because just from tweaking one thing, it impacted, so drastically my performance, and my emotional state is much better as well just by getting more sleep. So, that was the one thing that I was able to modify, but I only was able to do that, by actually, doing that end of week review. So that's pretty much, kind of my process and things that I do. But again, the main thing I want people to take away is, not feeling overwhelmed by what I just shared here. It's mainly so you can get ideas of what you can do for yourself to implement. And it, like I said, it can be as simple as it needs to be for you. It doesn't have to be, extra over the top. I'm just a numbers person. I love metrics. I love all of that, but if you're not that way, that's okay. I think respect yourself where you are and respect your differences because they're unique to yourself, and then make something that works for you. So a daily report card, like I said, make it super simple. It can be just simply one page. It doesn't have to be all these extra things. I just like it this way. So I'm just sharing. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I do.
All right, Chad, did you get it? Did you get it all? Did you get everything? I hope you got it all. I hope you guys took notes. I hope you got everything, because there's a lot. There's a lot, and it's all insane. When she first showed me this, again, I got a rundown. We didn't do this, but I mean, are you kidding me? That was my take when I first saw it. I said I cannot wait until everybody sees this, because this is just unbelievable. So thank you for going above and beyond in your explanation, obviously. Um, and now I know that we had also briefly talked about, you were thinking, maybe of potentially making a template of this, possibly for the community. And obviously it's like, so, because this is used for, you had mentioned, to at least to me, I don't remember if you mentioned it, but it's for your personal use. So I did say in the beginning, I guess, your personal use,
Right.
and for you use it for trading. So you can't just make this publicly available, because there's a lot of personal information on here. So
Mhm.
for the community, if anybody is wondering, it's up in the air at the moment, because it is going to take a lot of a lot of labor, clearly, to make this template if she was to do it. But she did mention that it's possible, so we'll see. We're going to leave it up in the air. I cannot guarantee that she will be making this public, but at least you have all seen it, and you got a literal A to Z breakdown, of this. So if anything, you guys should, if you get creative enough, you could definitely make your own version of this. um, so thank you
Yeah, and I
for.
mean, I watched some YouTube videos on, how to create
Right.
a lot of these things,
Yeah.
YouTube University,
It's all, yeah.
and then I just tinkered. And the thing about Notion is basically like a fingerprint. You can make it as unique as you want to yourself. And that's the beauty about it. And that's a lot of what I wanted to show, because most people don't know what Notion is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
You can make this as simple as you want it, or you can add some small details in it, again, that fits specific to you. That is the most important thing, is make Notion work for you where you are and fit your personality. that's essentially, the biggest thing that I want to communicate is I don't want anybody to be, intimidated by what I shared, because that wasn't the purpose or the goal. Like I said, I just wanted to share ideas. Just take the idea and then you put your fingerprint on it and make it, what works for you.
Yeah, and now to shift gears a little bit, we had also there was something else that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember exactly what it was. So I'll go into the other topic, which is you and I were discussing, females in the trading space. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. Now that we got this incredible notion from you, and I know that we briefly were talking about how it's a lot more male dominated. It is a much more male dominated space, and I wanted to bring up that you were talking about with me making we have our group threads in the premium group, and you wanted to make a group thread for just a spot. So I forget what you could call it, but you came up with a little idea where you thought, oh, like you could make a little space for the ladies of the community to have their own little chat, so they could be a little bit more vocal if they feel a little bit intimidated when they're communicating in the servers.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and I mentioned it to you, but I was going to ask Ash first before, I went ahead and created the thread. But I basically wanted to create a group thread called like Unicorn Ladies. So for like the ladies, to come and talk, amongst each other and maybe share ideas, because we are a minority in this space, right? It's mainly, a men's space, and that's okay, and we have to respect both lanes. But I know that, as a woman, when I see other women traders, I like light up like, oh my gosh, there's a girl. So for me, when I do see them, I'm like super excited. And then like, don't want to be the weirdo and trying to like reach out, like, hey, you want like a friend, so maybe if we have like a little group thread where like, the ladies can come in and just, talk about, like the different challenges or struggles that they have, because I respect both genders, but sometimes we do think differently about things. And I think sometimes it's nice and helpful to hear kind of, how does she think about, this or what? So, I know it's kind of one of the things too of why I was like super shy to speak in Discord in general, because I'm like a shy person on social media. So, to even speaking in Discord is like a big thing, let alone being on this stage is like super huge for me. So, and then being a woman, in the Discord, but then when I saw like, especially in premium, it's so inviting, like especially to the ladies in there, and I appreciate that, wholeheartedly, and so I definitely would love to like have a group thread for like, the women if possible, called the Unicorn Ladies or something, or any other creative name. If anybody could come up with something better. But it was just a thought, an idea, so that women can know that, this is a space for us as well, because, our voices, like I said, because it's not many of us. Sometimes we may not know, who's a woman, who's not, so just an idea.
Yeah, I love the idea. I mean, when you brought it up, I thought it was a great idea. I mean, you're only adding to the community, right? We're not taking anything away from anybody. We're all about make. I mean, that was the entire premise of the original Discord, and now the premium Discord is, having everybody feel comfortable and there being quote unquote, no stupid questions, and we try to educate and help everybody, right? Like we wouldn't want people to
Hmm.
feel like they can't communicate. And I do, if for those of you who are listening that have listened to the other ones, I believe I've almost always mentioned in all the student stages to communicate and like talk in the discords, like even if you are
Hmm.
a more reserved type of person, it does help, like communicating with other people, even though it's not maybe going to change everything overnight for you, but it definitely is going to help. I highly
Right.
encourage everybody to just send messages, communicate. And I do remember mentioning in a previous one, even if you don't get a response to maybe what you're asking, that doesn't mean, whatever you asked was stupid or dumb or we hate you. Meaning
Hmm.
anybody in the community is, laughing at you or whatever. It's just, it didn't get answered
Hmm.
and there's nothing wrong about it. And then just, move on or ask another question or whatever the case is, right?
Mhm.
There's no reason to feel self-conscious or shy. We're all here to help. We're all trying to learn together. We're all trying to grow. And like, how you just mentioned, we are also trying to build a super positive, collective. It's supposed to be a very inviting environment. That's what we're trying to do here. And then
Absolutely.
also to kind of shift gears again a little bit, because I remember the other thing I wanted to touch on is that you had mentioned that your goal is to be a profitable and funded trader, and that you hadn't
Mhm.
reached that quote unquote status yet, right? And you said that you were following up veterans in the student stage, right? Like people who you'd had on
Mhm.
that have either been funded or gotten payouts, or whatever the case is, they've seen some sort of success in that way,
Mhm.
and that you hadn't gotten there yet, which is even more of a reason why I loved bringing you on here, because you are one of the many people who haven't who haven't reached that point yet in their trading career. And I once you showed me your Notion, and like we had talked, and I got a feel for like what you're doing, and obviously seen everything that you've provided in the premium server. It was so important, I believe, for you to come on and talk, because you are showing such dedication and such consistency. And obviously, I
Mhm.
mean, the Notion itself is miraculous, obviously, like above and beyond what most people would want to do, um, or could do, or capable of. And obviously that a Notion does not determine somebody's level of success or whatever, but just this
Right.
consistency and this determination that you're showing through your Notion and through what you're putting into the premium server is that, I mean, that right there is just the proof in the pudding that you are going to eventually take this to that next level. Your vision board that you had, right? Like that is going to become a reality, just because of the consistency and you sticking around for the long term, because you had mentioned you were learning for about 4 years, but only recently have been getting super into it and very serious about it. Um, so I thought,
And the reason, just to give you a little,
yeah.
background on, and the reason why, it kind of took me so long to get to the point of implementation is because of like my job. So every time, like, I've found a strategy, that works, and I'm back testing it and whatnot, um, work will get busy because I work in quality. When stuff hits the fan, it hits the fan. It becomes like an all hands on deck type situation. So everything else in my personal life suffers. And so, that it's normally how it works, especially when you're in the automotive industry. So we're dealing with people's vehicles. So when things like that happen, like we had like a really big issue last year, and it pushed me to the point of like, I'm doing like 16, 18, 20 hours. The most I did in one day was 21-hour day. So when those situations happen, trading always got pushed on the back burner. So
Mm,
I would be learning, the skill for months, and then something at work would happen in quality that would just take all of my time. And so, eventually, I decided to just go ahead for the time being to, remove myself from my job. Because once I hit 21 hours and I'm like, okay, this is insane. I'm not sleeping properly. I'm not eating well. I may eat, once every 2 days, because again, when it comes to people's vehicles, it's like, it's basically like dealing with like soft recalls on vehicles and things like that. It's like becomes a mass, huge project. And so, since I was the only one at the time in that role, all that responsibility fell on me. And so I'm working 7 days a week, so it was insane and super intense. So that always kind of hindered me from being able to maintain consistency with, trading. So, but now that I have a little bit more time before I decide to, apply for another job, I'm like, okay, let me just, go all in and, focus in on that. So that's essentially kind of why kind of my journey is, you know, taken as long as it has, but it's okay because, I'm not in any rush. I'm not in any rush at all, so that's essentially kind of how I got to where I am right now. And I needed balance, and I had to see myself, as important because definitely, working that many hours, is draining to the body, and I start to get like, different health conditions. I'm like, okay, I'm getting like dehydrated and like anemic because I'm not eating and sleeping. So yeah, something has to give, and I prioritize myself and I chose myself. So,
Absolutely. Health, I mean, talk about something that is preached throughout the community constantly. Health and family always comes first. So that is,
mhm,
it's great to hear that, you put yourself first and you put your
absolutely.
job second. Not second, but
Absolutely.
you chose yourself over, you didn't want to
Absolutely.
deteriorate your health just for the sake of, the dollar bill, right? Um,
Right.
so that's
And you do
great to hear.
everything with wisdom, right? You do everything with wisdom, right? Because I do have, a lot of, savings. I have a ton of savings. So I'm good, So that was also another reason why it was much easier to make the decision, because, I manage my money in such a way to make sure if I ever had to leave, a job, I'm good, for for a good couple years. So, if anyone's ever faced with that choice, just make sure that, so you don't extra stress yourself out, that you have kind of a little savings enough to, carry yourself, for months or a couple years if need be.
Yeah, that
So
cushion.
that's
Yep.
kind of what I wanted to say. Right, right, right. Um, but yeah, and I was just now reading the comments. So I think somebody talked about dividing the genders, and like that is it was definitely not my intention of the idea, and that's why I originally wanted to ask Ash for permission first because, and I talked to you about that, Nate, because I was concerned that people might think I'm trying to be divisive or create some kind of divide when that's actually not the case at all.
Right. I remember.
So
Yeah. I that is
yeah,
definitely not the case.
okay,
That
so
would never be the case, obviously.
yeah,
But I mean, that even just goes to show the level of like respect and professionalism that you have right there. You didn't want you kind of waited till you had a moment to discuss this with us to ask, and then when you did, I was, or at least when you brought it up to me, I said, no, that's a fantastic idea. I think you should absolutely do that. You're only adding more value to our community. So I thought that I thought it was a great idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's fantastic because it's a fact. There are a lot more. It's a much more male dominated space. So I think the ladies having their own little section in the Discord where where they can chat it up and maybe you know meet other like-minded individuals that are ladies in the space. That's fantastic. I mean, that's everything that we want for the community. So when you brought up the idea, I loved it, and I know
yeah.
that everybody else is going to love it. So I definitely
And it's not isolated, and I mean, like, if guys wanted to join in and, say, talk in there as well, they most definitely can. I just kinda wanted to create, like, a little, like, almost like a bat beam, like a bat signal for the ladies to know, "Hey, like, they're"
right,
it's
like
like
here
there
we
are
are.
ladies
Come
here.
come join
Right,
us.
right,
Right?
right.
Yeah, it's not
Right,
like
right.
a ladies only chat. It is just a place for the
Right, right,
ladies
right.
to to congregate. Right? If they wanted to.
Absolutely.
So I love
Right,
the
right, right.
idea.
Because like, some people you don't know based on their, profile, name, if they're like, a woman or not. So it's just kind of a space, like for the ladies to come in, hey, like I'm like a woman too, and like, whatever the case. So and we commune if we need to, if they want to, right? So like I said,
Yeah.
it was just an idea, not to try to be divisive or any of those things. But I know for myself that, that was also one of the reasons why I joined was because I saw like in addition to like, Matt being super awesome and like um the level of value, and I'll say this, that Ash provides on YouTube is like awesome. And I want to thank you, Matt, for being so transparent, for being so consistent, for sharing, the unicorn model on YouTube for free, because you give out the entire model to be profitable. And so, I'm grateful for that. And I thank you so much for doing that. Because I think one of the first videos that I watched was the unicorn PDF video. And then I watched a couple more live streams and then decided to join the free Discord. Um, and then once I joined, I think they were doing you were doing a student stage and then did the 50% off discount. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well go ahead and like try out premium, see how I like it. and then, I'm still here. So, yeah, I just wanted to thank Ash for, being fantastic and being awesome enough to share his model because, it's like it's already available and anybody can take that model and go, and be successful. But the Discord, especially premium, provides you that community feel, and it's just like we as human beings, we're communal beings. We need community in order to grow, in order to thrive, in order to reach higher potentials than we would have if we were just by ourselves. So yes, I could have taken, the unicorn model, just that video, and done it on my own. But I, decided that, I wanted to join, premium, especially to be around other like-minded traders. And then when I was in a student stage one day, I saw like some lady profile pictures. I'm like, oh, heck yeah. So, like let me even more join. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that this is a great community, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. And I'm even honored, to have been considered and allowed the option to be up here on the student stage. Because I'm following behind a lot of heavy hitters. So I'm
I mean,
still new.
well, I mean, yeah, you are new, but that's the beauty of it, right? You are so new, and you are already providing such incredible information already out the gate. You just came flying into the server and just immediately started providing just uh, incredible value. Seriously. Um, so, well, thank you for the praise. Obviously, is much appreciated. But I want to reciprocate it back at you because, I mean, just this stage and you providing the your notion from A to Z and how complex and detailed it is, and sharing that with everybody and just giving these ideas to everyone is it goes without saying how appreciative we are, and I know that you feel honored to come on here, but once again, like, we're honored to have you on here, and
Right,
also, to real quick, just to touch on you saying you don't know who people's avatars are when
right,
or you don't know who people are just because their names and the avatars on Discord. I had told you
right,
I wasn't. I mean, I didn't really. It didn't matter, but I did not know if you were a man or a woman when I had originally messaged you. I was just like, oh, this person's
right,
killing it. They're next. And I believe Matt, he was aware. So he had mentioned that when I kept referring to you as, oh, they said this and they said that. And he would say, oh, well, she said this because I had never spoken to you yet. And then I was like,
right,
oh, okay. And then that was when I found out that you were a lady, which I thought was, fantastic, obviously, because we haven't had a female on the stage yet. So I was even more excited to get you on here, let
right,
alone just from your incredible input. That But I mean, I do want to start bringing on some ladies to represent the unicorn ladies, as you put it. I want
right,
everybody
right,
to feel represented. I want people to feel inspired because when you have more things in common with people, you know that besides just like your trading algorithm or whatever your trading model or whatever you're doing, it just like
right,
adds to like that level of connection. So
right.
I do love that
Absolutely.
you came on here and shared your all of your philosophies with us, because that is part of your notion, manifesting and your vision board and all of that, and just the inspiration that you provided through your dedication to your notion is invaluable. Is
Thank
seriously,
you.
I was so excited to
Thank
get
you.
this notion on this stage and show everybody.
Thank you.
So, but I
Can
guess.
I answer one
Oh,
question,
you
if that's
absolutely
okay?
can. I was going to start to wrap it up, but go answer. Absolutely.
Just one
Yeah,
question I think that I
absolutely.
saw. I think someone mentioned about, I guess, the level of detail that I had with regard to my notion and tracking my emotions and how he was wondering, I guess, how that would translate to live trading. So for me personally, I have been journaling my emotions for like the last 5 years, and this is just outside of trading. Because I'm very big on improving myself as an individual. So in like my day-to-day life, I, kind of aim to be like 1% better. So for the last, 5 plus years, I journal every day. I journal my thoughts. I journal what happened to me that day. Um, and I gauge, kind of what that situation taught me. If a certain emotion appeared, like if I got angry from a situation, I'll ask, myself, okay, why did I react this way? So I have a good handle on my emotions. I know how to work through them. I'm not intimidated by them. And, it's kind of, I have this, like, I've heard this quote that goes like, what you run from will chase you. So, if there's an emotion that you feel, if you feel anger in like a day, instead of running from it, tap into it and question, okay, why am I feeling this way? And before you know it, whether in that instant, maybe later that day or the following day, or it maybe even a couple weeks later, your mind will tell you this is why you reacted that way. And now that you are equipped with the answer, now you can decide with that if you want to become better, if you want to, create, a situation for yourself to allow yourself to thrive and be more successful. So for me, emotions, I'm not afraid of loss, because I had, a business prior to trading. So I was doing like real estate wholesaling. And I had closed on my first property February 2020, and then COVID happened. So then, I put real estate on pause since we weren't sure what was going on with the market, and kind of when I started to tap into learning more about trading. So for me, I understand business expenses. I understand that, I have to lose money sometimes to make money. So before I started making money in real estate, it was a lot of upfront cost. So a lot of expenses, and then, when I was able to finally get my first property and sell it, then it was like, okay, here's profit. So for me, someone was asking how would, I guess this level of detail of my dashboard and tracking my emotions work. Is like I already have a good handle on my emotions and I'm not afraid to lose money. I'm not afraid of that because I understand in order to make money, you have to lose money. So for me, losses, I've overcome that as an issue. Like so because I deal with it in my everyday life. And I've reframed thinking about losses as lessons, as experiences, as how can I become better from this situation that happened to me? Because we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to that situation. So that would be my answer to the person that posed the question about, I guess, this translating into actual live trading. I'm not afraid of live trading. I'm not afraid to lose money because, like I said, I've lost money. I have invested before, in passive investments and lost money, but I understood, okay, hey, I'm putting this money over here with the expectation that I may lose this. And then some investments have worked, some have not. And I'm okay either way. So, I'm fine. So I know that I won't have any issues when it comes to live trading because I've lost money before. I've had a previous business before trading. So, I'm good in that regard. So that was to that person who had a question regarding that.
And perfectly answered. I mean, just making keeping. I mean, what is it? 80 20%. It's all emotion with this business. So you keeping track of your emotions and like how you said, it's like you gotta learn from them. I mean, it's cliche, right? But it's
Mhm.
so true. It seriously is.
Yep.
You have to, and especially with you giving these examples of how you track it and how you type it out so it is in front of you, and then you have this
Mhm.
log and this history, so you're journaling it. What and for everyone listening, whether you're writing it down, whether you're typing it in a Word document, whether you're making it into a Notion, as long as you're
Mhm.
tracking it like how she is, it doesn't have to be as crazy and super detailed, but as long as you
Right.
track it, you are going to learn from it. Again, so cliche and so oh, hey, that's really obvious, but I mean,
Mhm.
we'll keep saying it in this community till until I think Matt said we're blue in the face the other day. He literally said that. But we'll
Right.
just keep saying it, because it's so true. It really is just all emotion. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely, it
yeah,
is.
yeah. Um, and I
I
think with
think someone
that,
asked one more
oh, you
question.
you see now
I'm so
you're deep in
sorry.
the chat reading questions.
I'm gonna stay away from the chat. I'm
No,
gonna
no, no.
stay
You
away
can
from the
answer a
chat. So
question.
we could
Go ahead. Go ahead. Answer another question if
so
you
this will be
want.
the last one
Sure,
then.
sure.
So I
Go
think
for it.
someone asked about like if my trades are collected on one page. Yep. So that's going to be in my end of day dashboard. So any trades that I would have taken for the week or I guess all time, I can come through and see all of those trades. So as soon as it loads here, because I don't think Notion likes me being on Discord at the same time. So it's like loading super slow. Because normally it never loads this slow, but doing Discord and this is like
Yeah,
is
usually
challenging.
when you live stream something on Discord, it does lag a little bit sometimes,
Yeah.
depending on like the specs of a computer and whatnot.
Right. But basically, once it gets in, like, so I'll come into this end of day dashboard. And this is where I was saying, like, if I wanted to see what I did for Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, I can come in and see, okay, Monday I had like one trade for that day. And again, these are case studies. I'm not actually taking these live yet. And then, what was the R for that or whatever. So once it does load, so it'll load whatever trades I took for that particular week. And then if I want to see all time, I can just, modify the dates so I can see all time. But yes, to answer your question, I do have like a page where I can go and review all of the trades that I marked up as case studies. So that was the last question that I saw. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Yep. You're welcome. So if it ever loads, because it's so laggy
It's
connected
probably
to
not
the
gonna load. It's
screen.
it's gonna just
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's
hold out on
super.
us.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the, I guess, last question because I definitely don't want this to go over time more than it has. But
Oh, no,
thank you
no,
so
no.
much.
Any value that, see, now Notions is just fully dying on us now. Clearly,
Right,
it
yep,
doesn't.
Notion
It
said
said Notion said
we
I'm
tapping
actually
out.
done with this student stage. But so I will wrap it up. Thank you again for coming on. Let's get some claps in the chat, some hearts in the chat, some love in the chat for Phoenix Flies for coming on here. She did an incredible job. I mean, unbelievable amount of value shared with the community. Incredible ideas, that she has here for just tracking things and holding yourself accountable and organizing yourself. I mean, just so much incredible information, let alone the fantastic info that she's providing in the premium Discord for everyone. And I love seeing the dedication that you're putting into your training journey, and I love that you're really going all in on learning this and taking it super seriously. And clearly, you love doing it because I mean, this Notion is next level. Um, so again, thank you for coming in, Phoenix. Eliana
Thank
for
you.
coming on. We loved having
Thank
you
you.
on. And if,
Thank
is there
you.
is there any final words you want to give everybody that's in here before we sign off here?
Sure. I had a blast with you all sharing this. I'm so happy and so glad that people were able to, take something away from this, because I'll admit, full disclaimer, I was definitely nervous. I was definitely, and I told Nate, you have me coming around behind some big guys. I don't know if I'll be able to, match up to their level, especially since, I'm not in that place in my journey of live trading yet. But, just kind of seeing everybody's response, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me to notice that I was able to share something that, even if you took away one thing, I'm grateful for that because I think on this journey called life, we're supposed to share these things with others so we all can grow, together because it's no fun just growing by myself. So I love seeing other people's wins. I love seeing, other people in the group, get their passing funded accounts and getting payouts because I know one day that's going to be me, but I love celebrating with other people, on their way up. And so that's what this community is. And I'm just grateful, that I was able to share something of value. So truly thank you for making me feel welcome because I was so nervous. So just y'all helped me through it, which I'm super, super grateful for. So thank you, Nate. Thank you so much, Ash. Thank you both for having me. I'm truly blessed. Thank you.
Of course, anytime. That wraps up our student stage, everybody. I hope everybody took away something valuable from this. Everybody have a great weekend. Go relax. Just enjoy family. Go do something that's going to benefit your health. Or if anything, maybe try to implement some of the things that you learned, from the student stage from Phoenix. And yeah, I mean, and I just want to once again say thank you, Phoenix, for coming on. This was fantastic. You did such a good job. Very happy with everything that you shared with us and your incredible mindset that you have. And then also to everybody that is listening, we are going to get this up on YouTube. We did record the whole thing, so if anybody wants to go back and review this, because obviously there's so much information to digest, we are going to get it up on YouTube. So with that being said, we're going to sign off and thank you, Phoenix, again. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend. So we will see you next time in a couple weeks for the next student stage.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time.